Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, KYC style. I'm Jay Crawford. Over the next 30 minutes, we're talking Cleveland sports. One of the topics, will the real Gabe Arias please stand up? Is he as good as his top end or as bad as his bottom end? We'll discuss. Mike.
I'm Mikey McNuggets. Usually I'm behind the glass. Today I'm out in the big boy chair, and it feels great. Donovan Mitchell or Tyrese Haliburton? If you were picking one guard to lead your team next season, who would it be? The answer may surprise you. G.
Listen, we talking about flag football? Well, it's a new sport out there. NFL unanimously said, you guys can play. We'll talk about what Cleveland Browns player would be the best at flag football. Anthony?
Hey, and I'm Anthony Antonelli filling in for Mikey behind the glass today, and we're going to take a look at the Cavs, Oklahoma City, and the Timberwolves. We may not have made it to the finals, but how would we have stacked up?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I probably could be persuaded to go either way on that one, but right now it looks like Oklahoma City is in firm control of things out west. The Pacers living on that dream. It continues. They're still up 1-0 in their series with the Knicks. Let's talk NFL because the league owners had to vote this, had to approve it because once upon a time there was a young rookie who played for the New England Patriots who, in the NFL Pro Bowl festivities, tore his ACL in a flag football sand game.
Yeah.
And it ended his career. That was it. And this guy was a talent. He was a running back, a very good player. So I was somewhat surprised that NFL owners gave the green light to say, yeah, you can take our players and make a Team USA. No more than one player from any team can make the team. What are your thoughts on Olympic flag football, including NFL players? I mean, we wouldn't have to put our NFL players in to win it.
Yeah, there's guys, you can win that with rugby players. You can win it with college football players that don't make it.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it, but I am kind of surprised that that the NFL let those guys do that. But I had to go back and remember during the lockout how I used to see Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant playing at the Rucker, and they would be playing these games, or at the Drew League. You see LeBron and James Harden, and those guys play pickup games all the time. And owners are like, yeah, you got to play stuff in the summer. You cross your fingers, hope it works out. It's actually technically you guys are working out. For flag football guys, they're running routes anyway. They're going to be running. They're going to be doing all this speed workout. So for me, I would have a lump in my throat, but it's only one player and
per team,
and hopefully it's not a high name player.
Well, if you think about it, it's going to be the high name players, won't it, Mike?
Well, yeah, we'll get to our picks for which Brown would be the best, but my first thought when I saw this was, can you imagine some mailman from Lithuania trying to get Lamar Jackson's flag in the open field, or someone trying to stay in front of Derrick Henry who just puts his shoulder down and says, good luck. I covered a lot of 7-on-7 football out when I was working in Texas. This is the most similar thing to that on the professional level, and I have a hard time saying no to any guy who wants to represent his country and try and win a gold medal in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these guys. So fingers crossed, no injuries. That's obviously the downside to it, but I think on the upside, it's going to be a fun, dominating performance by Team USA in epic proportions. If any game is within like 300 points, and I know that's not even plausible, it would be a catastrophe considering how much more talent the Team USA side would be. And if I had to pick a Brown to play, it's not a long list of guys to consider. They definitely have the least sexy team in terms of who can make the flag football squad, but I'd go with Denzel Ward. Because you do need some defensive players.
Yeah.
He's a really good cornerback. And when Denzel Ward was asked about Travis Hunter playing both ways, he gave us the little insight. He'd been asking Kevin Stefanski to get on the offensive side of the ball time after time, and Stefanski said, your injury history is not great. You may be taking too many hits.
Right.
Well, you know what you're not taking in flag football, Jay? You're not taking hits, so I would love to see Denzel Ward not only lock down other teams' best receivers, but get a chance on offense as well.
Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts on it. One, I was shocked I was shocked that the NFL owners went along with this because you're talking about it's going to be the name guys. It's going to be the best players, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
It's going to be those kind
Joe
of guys.
Burrows.
Well, is any single team willing to lose their best player for an Olympic competition that we would win with the 5 people in this room right now? Like how? And that's obviously an exaggeration, but is this? You can't say you're doing it for country pride. We would win with our best high school players. Nobody else in the world plays football like we play football.
Do you think they had no choice because
The players were
the football players are going to say, well,
Yeah.
this sport we're going to dominate, but you let the guys go to the Olympics and play basketball.
Yeah, sure.
And they got NBA players.
Now there are some differences. I remember this reminds me a lot of the '92 Dream Team. The '92 Dream Team boat raced everybody.
Yep.
Now, what did that do? It caused a basketball revolution worldwide like we've never seen.
Yep.
It was. People always say, "Well, Michael Jordan made the game a worldwide game." No, Yao Ming had more to do with making basketball an international game than Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan had more fame and popularity, but what really the seed in the ground was the '92 Olympics, because for the first time, people in China and Barcelona and all of these countries that thought basketball was a rumor got to watch and see how fun this game is when it's played at the highest level. And they said, oh, our young kids need to start doing this tomorrow. And what's happened? Well, 30 years later, the rest of the world has caught up. They've caught up. I know a lot of people don't like it when I say that, but and we're still the best. But on any given year, Spain can win an international competition against the top U.S. players.
Yeah.
What has happened to the NBA since the '92 Olympics? It's the European and the international influence is overwhelming. There are some years where I'm looking at the NBA draft and I go, I don't know any of these guys. I don't recognize these guys.
Are you telling me this is going to spawn quarterbacks from all over
That's
the country, all over the world?
The reason the owners did this is because it's a long play, not a short play. By doing this, we've been trying to spread the game already.
Right.
This is going to spread the game. And the last part of that is the Browns question. It's got to be Denzel Ward.
Yeah, he's the obvious
because like Myles Garrett's probably too big and not fast enough, and they don't have a defensive end position. There's 5 players per team: quarterback, center, 2 wide receivers, and running back on offense. And on defense, you get a linebacker,
2 safeties,
and 2 corners, because you're obviously covering passes. And I don't know where you're going to put Myles Garrett in there, other than maybe linebacker. But I think you could find somebody quicker and a little faster to play that position. All right, let's talk NBA playoffs. Western Conference Finals look like Oklahoma City is in control. You never know. They've had the 2 home games. They've held serve, and the saying goes the series doesn't start until a road team wins. Which of the 2 teams out west, OKC or Minnesota, most resembles the Cavs, or which do the Cavs most resemble from the west?
I'm going to go ahead and say Minnesota. And it's because Minnesota is a different team when they can hit threes. Julius Randle is a guy who I look as a secondary player. When Julius Randle was averaging 25, 7 and 7 and being a Swiss Army knife, they're a different team. Obviously, you got Ant. I kind of compare Ant and Donovan Mitchell. And then you look at Mobley, who can do multiple things as well in that area. I think they play a little less defense than what the Cavs would play. And I also think they're similar because if they're knocking down shots, they can get it going quick, and it changes the complexion of who they are.
Yeah, they're nothing like OKC. So the default answer
what I
has
thought.
to be Minnesota. And your point on the 3-point variance and how much that dictates in Minnesota's offensive efficiency is spot on. The difference with OKC is they're a defense-based team that swarms, that hounds, that harasses, that turns every game into a muck fight. The Cavaliers want to run. They want to score. They have the 2nd best offensive rating in the history of the league this season. OKC's entire identity is based on the defensive end of the court. Donovan Mitchell and Ant Edwards, pick and choose your warrior, similar style players. They have the 2 bigs that initiated last year under Chris Finch with Cat and Rudy Gobert. They ended up trading Cat, getting Julius Randle in there for a little more compatibility, a la Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I don't think they're necessarily built like Minnesota, but they for sure aren't built like OKC. So to answer this question, I think it's pretty easy. The Timberwolves, they're more built like.
Yeah, when I saw the question, my answer was exactly what you just said. I said, well, really? If I squint, maybe I can see a comparison to Minnesota, but they're definitely not OKC. And I don't know that you're going to get anybody running around saying, Cavs and the Timberwolves are twin teams. They're not. They do things differently. But because of the way it's framed, of the 2, they're much more like Minnesota. And you mentioned the shooting. I do see some similarities there, so I do think that they resemble Minnesota. I don't think they resemble OKC that much at all. The second part of that question, which was the fascinating part to me, was would the Cavs have a chance against either if they were to make the finals? And I had Minnesota, I think, would be a great series. Cleveland and Minnesota, I think the Cavs could win. Okay, they're not beating OKC. OKC, in my mind, is clearly the best team in basketball. I think they're going to win the championship. And I think if it wasn't the Pacers, that it may well have been the Knicks, but it easily would have been OKC.
It would be hard pressed. I would look. It's a toss up to me if they was playing Minnesota.
Do you think they could beat Minnesota in a 7-game?
Yeah.
I do too.
They could.
I think it would be a good series, but I think the Cavs would win that series.
The other three teams, New York, the Pacers, obviously, and OKC, no.
Yep.
OKC might sweep them. I don't give them a game.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
No,
OKC.
Cavs.
Yeah.
OKC plays defense, and I think that may be the thing that the Cavs need to do. Is yes, our offense is great, but we talk about tweaking.
Did they split their series with OKC?
They
this
did. They
year?
won that incredible game.
Yeah,
here,
that's what.
and
Yeah,
then
okay.
they got blown out.
Yeah.
But if
I think
you
OKC
thought
would win it.
Even at full health, let's just take the injuries from the Cavs out of the equation.
Right.
If you thought the physicality Indiana played with threw Cleveland off of its offensive groove, go watch 30 seconds of OKC play defense. Look at the way Alex Caruso manhandled Nikola Jokic in Game 7, making it incredibly difficult for someone 7 inches taller than him, the best player in the world, to even catch the ball.
Yeah.
Lou Dort has put Donovan Mitchell in the torture chamber time and time again. We did
Yes,
that
he
whole
has.
breakdown in January when they played. Kaysen Wallace, Jalen Williams are all NBA caliber defenders, and they have 2 bigs to match up with Allen.
And they're all young
Hartenstein.
and they're all signed.
And their general manager went to Emerson
and they
College.
got 100 first round picks.
Yeah. What's
Ice.
even scarier, Jay, real quick on the Thunder, is if they win the championship, they can cash in all their picks for Giannis if they want. And if they lose the championship, their hand's going to be forced to cash in all their chips
Yeah, you're right.
for Giannis.
You're right.
It's really a no-lose situation.
Now
Yeah,
that's what we call a core 4, Kobe. That's the core right there.
That is
we
the
want.
core. And what's interesting is I know the league is anti-dynasty. That's what they're doing. They're loving the fact that every year a new champion gets a drink from the fountain. But I think that might end with Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City, I know it's always the favorite. The champion from the year before is always the favorite. We saw Boston, didn't work out. The last 5 champions, it hasn't worked out. When I look at this OKC team, at their age, the way the team is constructed, and how they're built, like how their contracts are sitting, I can see them winning 2 and maybe 3
So
of
they
the
have
next 4.
this year, and then 2 more years after
this year.
Before Jalen Williams' extension kicks in,
Jeez.
Chet Holmgren's extension kicks in. They'll lose Hartenstein in that point. SGA, by winning MVP, goes from $290 million max extension to a $370 million max extension.
That's
which
gonna hurt.
Hurts their ability.
Yeah, it does.
And their owner does not have pockets like Dan Gilbert. So this second apron and this new CBA that the NBA is currently under is going to hamper a team's ability to stay together.
No question.
For better or worse.
We're taking a break. I love this question. You can have Mitchell or Haliburton for the 25-26 season. The whole season, including the playoffs. Who you got? Next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. We're here every Friday, 12:30 to 1, 30 minutes. We're every Monday through Friday on YouTube, 11 to 1 live. You can stream us and watch us on demand whenever you like throughout the day. Thank you for watching the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This is a great question, but I think what's going to happen is what I feared would happen. I hate when our answers are all the same because it's always good when we get a little bit of discussion, but you can pick either Tyrese Haliburton or Donovan Mitchell for the entire 25-26 season. Who are you taking?
I'll make the case for Haliburton, but the answer is Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
The answer is Donovan Mitchell. Tyrese Haliburton this year has rewritten the record book on clutch shooting late in games.
100%.
This season, it's one of the craziest stats I've ever heard in the history of the NBA. Tyrese Haliburton is 12 of 14. 14 shots attempted, 12 makes in the final 2 minutes of a game or overtime to take the lead. That's a 92% field goal percentage on the most clutch shots in basketball. The rest of the league combined shot 27%. 27 compared to 92. In the playoffs, he's elevated his game. He's maybe one of the best passers in the entire NBA. He is the head of the snake that is Indiana's high-paced, up-tempo offense. And what he did against Cleveland, what he did against Milwaukee, what he's done against New York in the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals has been spectacular. But let's not get it twisted. Donovan Mitchell is about to make All-NBA first team for the first time in his career. Donovan Mitchell is a 6-time All-Star. And Donovan Mitchell is not a guy you can look at on the Cavs roster and say, he didn't show up in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell on one leg averaged 30 points plus against Indiana in that 5-game series loss. It was not on Donovan. It was on the other guys for not showing up as well. Haliburton's been a great story. He's a great player, but he ain't on Donovan's level yet.
Yeah, I think we get caught up too much for the last 3 years. We look at the playoffs and the Cavs leave and get put out in the second round. And we think, well, Donovan Mitchell isn't getting us over the hump. It doesn't work that way. You're going to need more than one player to step up, and the Cavs have not even had a half a player step up. Out of the core four, the four guys that we throw in the bag and piggyback, you got Donovan Mitchell. He's the only dog. He's the only guy that people respect in the fourth quarter. He's the only guy that puts fear in anybody. He's the only guy that pretty much can get his own shot. And when he's hurt, unlike the other three guys that was playing against Indiana, guess what? He was the guy that was steadily getting off the floor by himself, showing, flexing, like, nah, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm trying to show y'all this toughness. Haliburton is a great ball player. Listen, he hits some big shots. And look, he is right now one of the hottest guys in the playoffs moving. But if I got a whole year, come on, give me Donovan Mitchell. And some would say it's not close like that.
Yeah, it's not. Donovan Mitchell is the answer. It's the easy answer. But I got to tell you, like you, Mike, just because of what I've seen the last month, you can make – there's a discussion to be had around this question. I have to confess that coming into these playoffs, I had Tyrese Haliburton in the following category. He's a good player, and he's going to make things tough on the Cavs, but he can't will a team to victory. He is that guy. He can will a team to victory. He is that guy. The stat that was going around after the ridiculous shot to end game one or send game one into overtime was something like this. I hope I get these numbers close to right. Going back to 1996 when the league started tracking this as a stat, teams that were down 7 with 50 seconds to go in a playoff game were 1 and 1,490 something.
You're very close.
It was like 1 in 1,400.
Yes, there it is right
He's done it 3 times. One is 1,700 times. It had been done once. This dude, by himself, has done it 3 times in 3 weeks.
You know what's crazy, Jay?
That is a mind blow.
For me, it just shows you that there's a level that players that happen where you got to put people away. Like, there were times where
when it was 14 at 3 minutes, I honestly thought, not this time.
All the little layups that you give up, the little turnovers, the guys that don't close out on threes, you give up 5 points, say, it ain't that big of a deal. No. Against this guy, he preys on that. When you make them turnovers or when you do stupid stuff, McNuggets, he's capitalizing because he comes back at 3, comes back at and 1, comes back, get to the line, takes a steal. Now you're down from, you went 20, now it's 10.
And with Indy, it hasn't just been him. Neesmith in game 1
No, but he's the one that hit all the game-winning shots were him.
Well, Neesmith had 4 threes in the final 3 minutes.
He was great.
To come back.
But like the shot,
he's
the money shot.
Haliburton has been the assassin. He hit the game winner against Milwaukee, hit the game winner against Cleveland, hit the game tying shot, and then another incredibly tough, took the body contact and finished in the lane against the Knicks in overtime. The one thing back to the Mitchell-Haliburton discussion, too, that I think gives Donovan the edge. Do you remember 2 regular seasons ago, when Darius and Evan got hurt, the Cavs went 19-2 in that stretch, and Donovan took over as the primary point guard?
I remember.
During that stretch, he was averaging about 8.5 assists.
Yeah.
Donovan could be the facilitator if need be, if that's what the offense calls for, to a much higher capacity than I think Haliburton can become the assassin killer.
Yeah, Mitchell's skill set is, to me, unquestionably better than Haliburton's. But, sometimes there's just this dude that steps up. And, we all know what he did when he hit the dagger. That really, it ended game 2, but it ended the Cavs season. Let's face it. We all know the move that he did. I'm not going to do it here. The gesture that he did, he's exactly right.
Yeah.
This dude's onions are unrivaled. He's not afraid of that moment. And you know what? Some of those shots were similar. He had the shot in the paint.
He pulled it back out.
He sprints back out to the line.
Yeah.
And what was crazy,
he took the worst shot possible.
I know he did.
There's not a worse shot
And
than
it went
a
in.
22 and a
That's
half
his
foot.
move.
No, but you don't. If you're gonna do it, you got to get to the 3-point line, and he had his toe on the line, which makes it literally the worst shot.
But what was better about it was he recreated the Reggie Miller,
looking right at Reggie Miller.
and then it wasn't over and didn't. I mean, at Madison Square Garden, now you got to play 5 more minutes, bro.
Silence.
He did it.
Silence.
That guy's crazy good.
Yeah.
All
But
right, we're
Mitchell's
taking
right.
a break. When we come back, Gabe Arias has been in a real slump. Is it a slump, or is this who he is? The discussion's next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The Guardians continuing their series with the Detroit Tigers. They took game 1 last night, 7-0. It's a 4-game set. If they win them all, they're 2 games out of first place. If they lose the last 3, they're 8 games out of first place. So that's a big swing. Gabe Arias is a guy that the Guardians have pretty much given this shortstop position to him. When they sent Rocchio down, it was pretty much obvious that this is his to lose now. And really, since that point, he's done everything he can to try to lose it. Let's put his splits up over the last 21 games. The first half of this looked like all-star numbers. The back half of it looked like minor league numbers. So I'll do the quick math for you. That batting average is 324 on the left, and the batting average on the right is going to be 118. More strikeouts over the last 2 weeks or so. Walks are similar, RBIs are similar, but to me, he's been a much different guy at the plate. I think more, not that the book wasn't out already, because with the advanced scouting that teams do, you are who you are, and teams know it after about 30 or 40 professional at-bats. To me, he's a guy that can handle fastballs in the zone, and he chases way too many pitches out of the zone that are off speed, and it's going to kill his career if he doesn't fix it.
I have the numbers to not only back that up, Jay, but to confirm exactly what your eyes are seeing. This season, so this is in culmination from the start of the season to now, not just the last 21 days. Against fastballs, Arias is hitting 288, good, 4 home runs, and a slugging percentage of 479, which is a pretty good slugging percentage.
It's great.
Against off-speed pitches, sliders, breaking balls, anything off-speed, he's hitting 197, no homers, and a slug of 279, which is in the bottom 10% of baseball. His barrel rate and his exit velo have both dropped off a cliff in the last 3-4 weeks.
Because
teams have learned
differently.
early on when he had those 4 home runs, we got to be careful with throwing this guy a fastball. Yeah. But he can't hit the off-speed, and now he's getting a heavy dosage of off-speed pitches. Prior to his last 21 games that Anthony mentioned, he was seeing about a 60-40 fastball off-speed split.
Not anymore.
According to StatCast. It's about 70-30 off-speed to fastball split now, which is a pretty easy way to track why has Arias been struggling and when did he start to struggle, when teams adjusted how they were approaching him at the plate.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. If you can't hit the off-speed pitch, you're going to get more of them.
That's it.
And if you chase out of the zone, you're going to get even more of them.
And you're going to get fewer strikes, too.
Right.
Why, as a pitcher, would you throw the ball in a nitro zone against a guy that can handle that pitch when he's going to help you out and swing at 2 or 3 pitches that are off the plate?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I'm not going to say that he can't overcome this, because a couple of years ago, when I was watching Naylor closely, I just kept Josh Bo.
Okay, yeah.
I kept thinking, wow, this guy's inability to hit lefties is going to get him right out of the league. And that dude came back, and I remember talking to him at spring training, and he knew it was the elephant in the room. And I asked him the question. He goes, I'm ready for lefties this year. I've worked a lot this offseason.
Can
he
you
raised
fix
his
that
batting average against lefty. You can't.
Can you fix it mid-season, though?
It's really tough. But the difference between what Josh did and what Arias has to do is it's all mental. For Arias. Arias has to learn to spit on the pitches that are going to finish off the plate.
Very tough.
It is tough because most of it's baked into the cake. It's in your DNA. I sit here and say this. I had 6 at-bats Saturday. I saw 7 pitches. I'm a first pitch hitter. I always have been. Yeah. And I've tried to, for a while I was a leadoff hitter. I'm like, I got to look at more pitches. I can't do it. If it looks hittable, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to swing. So he has to reprogram his mind. It can be done, and if he does it, he can save his career. If he doesn't, I'm worried about him. I am.
Because they're not going to start throwing any more fastballs, right? Like once the book's out on
No.
you that you can hit fastballs, you can't hit off speed. They're not going to all of a sudden say, hey, you know what you want?
Here, try this.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
His days of seeing fastballs are done, particularly early in counts. You might get a fastball late in a count if you're up, but you're not going to get them early in the count, and that's when guys like to do their damage. All right, that's it. We're out of time. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Remember why we celebrate the holiday. Enjoy, and we'll see you on Tuesday. No show on Monday.